Alrighty, we're about to get started. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this webinar. Local Marketing Domination, actually hyperlocal marketing domination. How you can get 2 to 3 times more customers in the next 6 months than you did all last year. If you have any windows open right now, if you're in the middle of doing something, if you need to grab a drink of water, go grab it right now, because what I'm about to cover in the next few minutes is going to hopefully get you fully informed and up to speed on a lot of the big changes that are going on in the world of marketing. Changes that should be affecting your business, but maybe they're not, at least not positively. Let's go ahead and begin with a quick introduction, though. Who am I? My name is Justin West, and I'm the founder and CEO of Hundreds of Customers, a hyperlocal marketing company based near Kansas City, but serving clients internationally. I say hyperlocal, and again, that's a term that insofar as I know I've coined to describe what I do. I've spent the last 10 years working with small businesses, and honestly, that is my passion. I know that anyone leading a webinar could say that that was their passion, but I really do mean it, and here's how I can prove it. I started a marketing campaign to deck wisely this last holiday season because I want more people to buy locally and support their communities and not shop at chain stores. I'm the type of guy who never shops at a place like Walmart unless he has no choice, and who regularly patronizes local businesses, including the farmers market, for my produce because they're the backbone of a healthy community. So let's talk about hyper-local marketing, okay? Hyper-local marketing is about more than just reaching out to your community. It's about laser targeting the people in your neighborhood who have a problem that you can solve, and getting yourself so firmly cemented as a foundational member that people would be crazy not to do business with you. I'm going to explain about what this term means in a few minutes. That is, in fact, the purpose of this webinar, to show you how to absolutely crush it in this economy. I want you to be a recognized expert at whatever you do. I don't care if you're a restaurateur, a plumber, a chiropractor, a doctor, a dog groomer, an attorney, a dentist, a LASIK surgeon, whatever. I don't care. I want you to view this webinar and then go back to work a changed man or woman, regardless of whether we work together or not. Now, the thing is, a lot of you small business owners are not crushing it right now. Am I right? You're here in the first place probably because you're not getting all the customers that you think you should be getting. And that's okay, because millions of other business owners are in the same predicament as you. But because you're here, you're going to be ready to pounce on the trend that will shape the way the local business world works. You're battling to stay alive. That's your problem, right? Without a steady stream of customers. But with a steady stream of customers, of course, your business would grow and it would evolve, making you more and more real money. So this is you right now. You're poor. You don't have any customers, right? But what happens when customers start showing up in droves? All of a sudden, you got money and more money and more money. And all of a sudden, I mean, that's why you started working in the first place. That's why you started a business in the first place. I mean, you had an idea and you wanted to make your community better, but you wanted to make money doing it, right? You didn't do it for the rude customers and the lazy employees, and the government red tape and everything else, but because you had an idea and you had a passion that would make a difference and make you rich at the same time. So, if that's you, then I'm about to show you how you can completely explode your business with customers starting next week. I can get you more customers, get you more money, get you more respect. No more sleepless nights wondering if you're going to make ends meet. No more weeks without taking a paycheck, right? That's the dream. In fact, no more burdening yourself with complex tax laws and employee laws and everything else because you can't afford to hire an accountant or an attorney to help you out. So, what is the secret? How do you grow your business? Well, the answer for years has been get your business in front of as many eyes as possible. Why? Because some of those eyes belonged to buyers. Now, some of them had a need, and you presented a solution to that need. The problem was with traditional advertising that 99% of the people you were presenting to didn't have a need, and yet you still had to pay to access those 99 to get to that 1% rather than targeting the 1% who did need you. Newspaper ads, radio spots, billboards, TV commercials, all of these are aimed at giving your message to everyone through interruption, which many of the 99% who don't have a need that you can fill right now resent. I mean, when was the last time that you really enjoyed commercials outside of the Super Bowl, right? And study after study is showing that these forms of advertising are on the decline. Why does the billboard guy try to lock you into a 6 to 12 month contract? Because after month one, the ROI, the return on investment, drops about 90%. And newspaper readership is down, and they just go to the same groups over and over again, many of whom aren't your target audience. If you're a veterinarian, let's say, half of the readers of that newspaper don't have pets. And of course, with the advent of digital satellite radio and cars that stream services like Pandora, the ability to TiVo your TV, your favorite shows, you can now skip all the commercials or go to a completely commercial-free medium. These forms of media are equally in trouble, and they're close to a dead end when it comes to advertising. Now, there was one other form of advertising that actually was a real value for quite some time. Something happened in the history of marketing that just kind of shook things up, and it was, if you can guess, the Yellow Pages. Now, with the Yellow Pages, you could put your business in front of a bunch of people who had a need, and that was really cool. The Yellow Pages represented a massive step forward for small business marketing. It was expensive, but it worked because you put your business in front of people who had a need. That's why they went to the book. That was called a buyer's book of goods and services, and it was very cool. However, the game has changed again, and the Yellow Pages just isn't what it used to be. Let me ask you something to illustrate this point. Which have you used more recently, the Yellow Pages or Google? If you needed to find a doctor or a dentist or a place to eat, would you hunt around the house for the Yellow Pages, or would you just go to your computer or pull your computer out of your pocket and search on the spot? The Yellow Pages, it seems, is dead or dying. See, folks, 97% of all searches begin online. 97%, even local searches. And over half of those, from 8 to 5, are done on a mobile device. And 2 out of 3 of those go to Google, and nearly 4 out of 5 of those never get past the front page of Google. In fact, fewer than 3% of some searches. So, why Google? Well, Google is the new Yellow Pages. See, the Yellow Pages represents an easily searchable index listing of businesses. Well, Google represents that on steroids, right? The only thing Google can't do that the Yellow Pages can is serve as a booster seat for your child. Let me ask you something. Have you ever seen a successful business and they just seem to have it all going their way? They seem lucky, right? Well, most of the time wrong. See, the smartest businesses and business owners know how to properly apply what I call the 80-20 rule to put their effort where it's really going to pay off. Now, the gist of the 80-20 rule, which is actually known as Pareto's principle, named after an Italian economist of the same name, is that of all of the tasks you do, 80% of them are fluff, and only about 20% of them actually are the workhorse that gets the job done. If you're familiar with the 80-20 rule, or if you're not familiar, rather, you might enjoy reading Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Work Week, which sounds great, doesn't it? You can also Google it if you don't know what it is or you want to know more about it. So, how does this apply to marketing? Well, of the spectrum of marketing that's out there, only about 20% of it actually yields measurable results. The rest is fluff. Maybe it didn't used to be, but it is now. These lucky businesses usually have a few things in common, and one of them is where they focus their efforts when it comes to marketing. They focus on the correct part, the part that does all the work, and the customers flooded in. And with the customers came money. With the money that they had, they could do so much more. They could hire an attorney, hire a CPA. They could pay their employees enough to attract better employees. They could finally take that vacation, buy that car, get that second home, pay off the debt, send their kids to college, whatever, right? There was a Greek mathematician, you've probably heard of him, named Archimedes. Archimedes once said, "Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, and I'll move the whole world." He never succeeded, of course, but the principle of what he said was correct. Physics will tell us this. Everything is about leverage. By laser focusing on the kind of marketing that works, these lucky business owners were able to multiply their efforts 2 to 3 to 5-fold, and then they had freedom. Freedom which came when they cracked the code to attracting new customers and getting the old customers to come back. So, how do you do this? Well, meet your new neighborhood. Let's talk about Facebook. Now, I know you probably have a personal Facebook account, and maybe you heard somebody say that having one for your business is important. Maybe you paid a pretty chunk of money to have somebody set up a nice fan page for you on Facebook, and it's just sitting there collecting, virtual dust, right? Well, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But consider this. 1/7 of the world is on Facebook. 1 billion people. Now, don't be swayed just by big numbers, because you know what? Of those billion people, most of them are completely irrelevant to you. They don't matter. But what does matter is the people in your city, in your neighborhood, and they have a Facebook account, and they are not irrelevant. They're your lifeblood. They're your potential or actual customers. So what you need to do is find a way to leverage your message and get it out there to the members of your community that are actively looking for your solution to their problem. Facebook is your new neighborhood. Now, you used to be able to turn to traditional advertising methods like mailers and newspapers and the yellow pages to meet these people, but now the place where they spend most of their time, 15 to 20 minutes to 40 minutes every day on average, 30 minutes every day is the average, I believe, is how much time they're spending there. See, Facebook is a business. It's a publicly traded company, in fact, that represents the largest internet IPO in history. And they know everything about their members. That's what makes them so profitable, and that can be great news for you. Google is the same. See, if you know what you're doing, you can get in front of those customers when they want you, and only target those customers who are most likely to use your services. And you can get in front of them when they are red hot, when they are ready to buy. So the veterinarian, for instance, that we talked about earlier, he can target only pet owners. A chiropractor can target men in their 40s and 50s with physical jobs. Do you see the power of that? No more wasted money to broadcast to people who don't need you. This is driving the cost of marketing down. But it gets even better than that, because again, Google is your new yellow pages, and it's also the map to your new neighborhood. As powerful as Facebook is, and as necessary as it is these days, people don't search for a new dentist on Facebook. They just don't. They search Google. Again, it's no secret that magazine and newspaper readership is down, so are yellow page circulations. The yellow page companies, there's a number of them actually, they've sought to remedy this by becoming relevant and going online, but the problem is, just as you don't go to the physical yellow pages when you need to find a plumber anymore, do you take your time to go to www.yellowbook.com or www.yp.com? Did you even know that those even existed, right? Or do you just go to Google, use the search bar that's probably connected to your internet browser? Maybe use Bing or Yahoo search, which are actually the same thing now. Of course, you just search. You don't take the time to go to yellowbook.com or yp.com. You just search. And sometimes the yellow pages content will get returned as a relevant listing, and these citations are important for cementing your business as a legitimate business, but the point is you're going to Google it. Now, let's go a little bit deeper here. So what does a Google search look like anyway? Let me pull up my web browser here. We're going to do this live, okay? Because you need to know this. You probably do know this, in fact, but I want to point out a couple things that maybe you don't realize. Let's say you needed something. Let's say you need a used car dealership in Brooklyn. And let's just go right there. Okay, so here is your Google search. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so you can see this now. So what do you notice about this search? Well, first off, you notice the advertisements. Right up here and here on the side, these are advertisements. And those are there for a reason. Much like the yellow pages, you can pay to have an ad on Google. And the more you pay, the more prominent your ad is, meaning the more likely it is to appear here on page 1. Remember, 97% of local customers look online first, and at least 80% never go past page 1. So Google will let any business with deep enough pockets buy their way onto page 1 by paying per click. Pay per click, or PPC. That is for every time somebody clicks on their ads. You come over here and you click on Brooklyn Used Cars, or Honda Certified Used Cars, or Used Cars from $1,000, or any of these. Some of them with really good headlines, some of them with terrible headlines, some of them a little bit bigger, a little more eye-catching, some of them not so much. Okay? But here's something you need to understand. This can be very, very expensive, especially when the area that you're in or the vertical, the business niche that you're in are very competitive. How expensive can this be? Well, let me show you. Now, Google gives you access to this industry data for free if you've got an AdWords account, which is how you get ads in Google in the first place. And these accounts are free. So here we go. This is the back office of Google. I'm going to go ahead. I already pre-populated this with a couple of very popular search terms, things that people look for. And we're going to see just how popular they are. I'm going to hit search here. And let's scroll down and see what the results are. Okay, here we go. Just so you know what this looks like, here's the keyword I put in. Here's how Google says whether competition is high, medium, or low, whether there's a lot of people competing for the term and it's really hard to rank for it, or whether there's not a lot of people competing. And there's a number of factors that go into that, which we can talk about later. This is about how many people are searching for that term every single month. Okay, do you see that? Do you see how many people in Kansas City are looking for a dentist every single month? Okay, and if you want to get to the front page of Google without appearing magically on the front page of Google in the search results, which we'll talk about in a minute, you can pay to get on the front. But if you do that, this is what it's going to cost you. To get on the front page of Google, it's going to cost you about $6.21 for a dentist in Kansas City. Chiropractor in Chicago is going to pay about $7.25. Look at this. Air conditioning in Dallas, $51 per click. Personal injury attorney in Los Angeles, I think this is one of the biggest ones I've ever seen, $118 per click. Every time somebody comes over here and goes, click. And do you think they get a customer every time somebody clicks? No. Of course they don't. So let's look at it this way. Now, if you had an advertising budget of $50 a day and an average click cost you only $5 a click, now again, a lot of those clicks were a lot higher than $5 a click, the best you could hope for is about 10 clicks per day. And again, clicks don't always convert into customers, especially if your web page isn't designed to convert them. And it's not, trust me. I almost guarantee, unless you've already studied a lot of this stuff, your web page sucks, okay? So now we have some tricks, of course, that can drive the cost down, like I said, and target your best buyers, but I'm not here to pitch you on a pay-per-click campaign. I will say this, though. The nice thing about advertising on Google or Facebook, they have the ads on the side there in Facebook as well, is that the cost is almost nothing compared to the cost of advertising using traditional marketing methods. And from a marketing perspective, what I really like most about this new medium, what you should like, is that everything is instantly trackable, traceable, and searchable, and changeable. So search engine marketing and Facebook marketing both let you track, stop, start, and edit campaigns on the fly. Compare that to, say, the Yellow Pages, where you couldn't change your ad for a year because the next book didn't come out for a year. If there was a typo, you're out of luck. If it didn't work, if the ad wasn't converting, if it wasn't triggering people, you had a year to sit there and just think about it while you pay $1,000 or more every single month for that advertisement. In fact, I knew an attorney who paid $17,000 a year for his Yellow Page listing, and it got him 12 calls. That's it. Think about that. So this is a very powerful technique, pay-per-click, and you can use it to attract new customers. And we can find out in a few clicks, within a week or so, even a few days, what's working, what's not, what's converting, what's not. We can make adjustments quickly on the fly to improve the response rate to that ad. And once we find a really sweet ad that works, we can just run it nonstop, and you can have a very steady stream of customers coming in, which is really cool. But again, this isn't about pay-per-click per se. So let's move back to that Google search page, and let's talk a little bit more about what we see. Now, you're familiar with Google and their organic search listings. Now, you see on this, because we're looking for something local, they actually change the way the page looks, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But here's what people think of when they think of Google. They think of these organic search listings down here. So this is what they look like, and this is what you're used to using when you come to Google to look for something. But notice that they are at the bottom. That's important. That's because Google has now given a special place for local businesses. And guess what? It's a Yellow Page style listing. And here we see it right here. So here's the third and most important part of the new search results in Google is the local search results and the map. Here's the map right here. Here's the local search results. They still give top billing to their ad, but the next thing you see, the big thing that catches your eye, is these. Now, what do you notice about this page? Of course, the local search results are higher than the organic web page results, and that's because Google is dedicated to local search. They detected that this search was a local search, and being a business that's there to give you the most relevant information possible, they've codified every business on the books, and they've given them a listing. You have one, whether you realize it or not. Now, you'll notice how many spots do we have here on page 1 of Google? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sometimes you'll see as many as 8 to 10. It never goes really past 10. We have 7 spots here on the front page. So if somebody wants a used car in Brooklyn, this is what they're going to see. And so these are the people who are very likely to get a lot of clicks. But there's something else that maybe it's caught your eye already or not. I don't know. But take a look here. And so if your friend recommends, say, hey, I got a really great car at Linden Used Cars, and you don't know their address. You go here and you look them up. You go to Google and you type in used cars, or maybe you even type in Linden Used Cars. Boom, even before I got it, it's filled in, right? What do you notice about this review? Okay, take a look at it. That's right. You see it right there? Right there. Their reputation. Out of 30 possible points, they're scoring 2. That's with 26 reviewers. In fact, I was doing some prep work for this the other day, and there was only 19. So this has actually gone up like 7 reviews in just the last week or so. So if your friend recommends Linden Used Cars, are you going to think twice about using them? Absolutely you are, right? You know, you'd be crazy. Let's go back here. So let's look at some of these other ones. There's a lot of really bad reviews here, in fact. You know, 2 out of 30, 15 out of 30. This guy's leading the pack down here with 17 out of 30. None of these are really good. I mean, they're used car salesmen. What do you expect, I guess? Sorry if you're a used car salesman out there. That's just how most of us feel about used car salesmen. I've actually had some really great guys that I've bought my cars from. But in general, you know, stereotypes are there for a reason, I guess. So their reputation sucks. You know, I want to be kind to these people, but 26 people went out of their way to review them and trash this business, which tells you that there's probably something wrong with this business. If your friend recommended you a dentist and that dentist has a score of 2, I guarantee that you would think twice before you went there to get your teeth drilled. That's because, like you, 58% of customers surveyed say that positive customer reviews make them trust a local business. And not only that, but 67% of customers read online reviews for local businesses, and 72% of them trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations. They approach them as objective third-party evidence for or against a business. And those aren't even my statistics. Okay, those are from the Nielsen Corporation, right? Your reputation is the new word of mouth. Facebook's your new neighborhood. Google's your new yellow pages. Your reputation is your new word of mouth. If your reputation stinks, then people won't click even if you're on page 1. Or if they do click, it's just to see how bad the reviews are. Do you see that? But consider this. What if you just moved to, let's say, the tiny town of Groton, Connecticut? Okay, let's do another search here. And let's say you need a dentist in Groton, Connecticut. So I'm going to come up here to my search bar, and we're going to type in dentist. Groton, oops, I can't type today, D-E-N-T-I-S-T, Groton. See, it's going to populate for me already, and before I even hit enter, it's already populating. And we have three dentists right here. We have the ad up here at the top, and then we have one organic search result appearing at the top, and then we have the yellow page style listing. We have 3 listings right here. And what do you notice about these 3? In fact, what do you notice if you're really smart? Here's the bonus question. What do you notice about that first organic search result? They all belong to this guy right here. He's got 44 reviews, and he's scoring 29 out of 30. That's an A+ in my book, right? You know, 30 out of 30 is the best you can do, and getting there means you've never had anyone give you a 4, and a 4 is still a good review, right? So do you see that? Does that make sense? Let that really sink in right now. At the very least, if you came to this page, you would be certain to click on that link. And where does this link take you? It takes you to their webpage. That's a free click. They're not paying for that. And see, these reviews, these glowing reviews, are important for a lot of things. Primarily for attracting new customers, but also for showing your business credentials. These are social proof. Do you see that? They show that you, or in this case contemporary dentistry, you're the expert in your field and a leader in your local economy, and that is huge. Right now, if somebody has a bad experience with you or with your business, their only avenue when they exit is to leave a scathing review online. What if there was a way to intercept most of those bad reviews so they never went live, while being able to address them and turn those negative customer experiences into positive ones? And what if there was a way simultaneously to capture the 5-star reputation, the 5-star reviews left by sincere customers, and blast them to sites like Google Local and Yelp? We can do that, by the way. In fact, reputation is a driving factor in the big deal sites that are out there as well. Deal sites like Groupon and Living Social. We should probably talk about them for just a minute as well, because they use your reputation oftentimes to determine whether or not a business gets to run a deal. Since we're seeing how things are changing here, let's talk about that for a second. By the way, only 23% claim to not even take notice of online reviews, and that number is definitely dwindling. So deal sites are the new coupon book, the coupon mailers that you send out. Deal sites work by negotiating amazingly deep discounts and then marketing them to a loyal subscriber base. Millions and millions of people all around you get these emails every single day, and they will often jump at the opportunity to try a new local spot. And this can be a very powerful way of generating advertising that essentially pays you to run it. If you know what you're doing, that is. Of course, many businesses have been feeling the Groupon sting, right? They've entered into a deal with a deal site not realizing all that it was entailing. There was a cake baker in the UK who famously made about 100 cakes a month off a Groupon deal that sold 8,000 vouchers each for a dozen cupcakes, and because she didn't know that the deal site took half of the already half-off price, she lost money on each and every voucher. She nearly lost her business, not to mention it killed her reputation as people became frustrated and irate that they couldn't redeem their coupons. Now, as a local marketing company, we have experienced negotiating with deal sites, and we can often get a better rate for our clients and help them turn one-time buyers into repeat customers as well. In fact, we can do better than even that because we also can implement viral marketing. We can develop our own social coupon and implement it right here on Facebook as well and have it go viral, attracting dozens or even hundreds of people to claim a special deal that could bring in new customers on a slow night, and build up your Facebook fan page, build up an email list of clients. These are people who've already spent money with you at this point, clients who are really easy to resell with a quick email or a wall post. See, that's how you get connected. That's what this is all about. Do you get that? And this is just the tip of the proverbial iceberg for what a correctly implemented social media strategy could do for your business. Quite simply, it could mean hundreds, if not thousands, of new customers who turn into repeat customers, as well as re-engaging with the customers you already have and bringing them back so that they turn into raving fans, all by correctly implementing a cross-social media strategy. So the truth is, the more presence you have online, the better off you'll fare. In fact, the biggest drivers of search right now are all social. This is why this is so crucially important. Now, here's a neat aside, by the way. I said earlier that 97% of searches, local searches, start online. 50% of those are done from a mobile device, at least between the hours of 8 and 5. Well, here's the thing. If your site isn't mobilely optimized, they won't stay on your site. It's hard to read on a mobile site. But guess what? If you've got a strong social media presence on Facebook or Google+, then those listings are already mobilely optimized. And of course, we can get your main site mobilely optimized as well, probably for less than the cost of a night out at the movies. But this is why focusing on social media is killer. So where does this leave you, Mr. or Mrs. Business Owner? Well, maybe you have a Facebook page. Maybe you have a Google Plus account. But they're probably just sitting there not doing anything for you. They're probably not engaging your customers. They're not bringing them in. Maybe you spend hundreds, even thousands of dollars on a nice Facebook page or a fancy website, but if nobody ever visits your sites, does it do you any good? Of course it doesn't, right? Do you see that? So now you can go claim these listings for yourself. It's not that hard to do. And you can buy various kits for a couple $100s here and there. That'll help you set up a really nice looking page. But can you drive customers to your site on a regular basis, have them share it with their friends and family and come back for more, all while building up your reputation? Could you do this yourself? Let's be honest. Well, you probably wouldn't have a clue how to do most of this stuff, right? Because you don't have the training. And in the months it would take you, if not years, to learn all of the current techniques, those techniques would be outdated. I can't neuter my dog. I can't fill my children's teeth if they have cavities because I lack the training and I lack the tools. And I don't have the time or the energy or the desire to learn how to do those things either. And for the average business owner like yourself, seeking to learn the always changing and evolving world of online marketing would merely take you away from what you already are doing so well, running your own business. So could you do it? Yeah, you could. You're smart. You're a business owner. I'm not being patronizing. I'm serious. You have to be smart to be a successful business owner. You know that. But is it worth your time? Your primary focus has to be your business. And that's where Hundreds of Customers comes in. We use a proven system to drive customers into your business. We engage with them, and we get them to engage with you. We're backed by a world-class staff of hundreds of people who spend their lives researching and executing these latest marketing strategies for hundreds of clients using cutting-edge technology and tactics. Of course, we're a full-service marketing company, and so we also have many other things that we provide, from traditional SEO to website redesign and search engine marketing, etc. But what really matters here, what I'm focusing on, what you need to focus on, is the social aspect. So how does all this work? Okay, so now you've got the big picture, right? What do you do next? Where do you go from here? Well, what you need is a system that shows real outcomes with measurable, quantifiable results that show real accountability and that will positively affect your bottom line. You need a company that you can trust to do things right. We'll focus on the most important areas to help you see measurable results quickly and move into a position of dominance in your local marketing place. We can get you listed on the front page of Google, build your Google Plus and Facebook pages, and connect and engage with your fans for you. If I've got your attention and you want to work with us, you're wondering what next, well, great. Fill out the form on this page and one of our representatives will be in touch. Who knows, you might even get to talk to me. In fact, you can email me directly at justin@hundradsofcustomers.com, and you can also call our direct line, which is 740-521-4546. Now, no matter what, make sure you incorporate social media into your marketing plan, whether you do it yourself or you hire out a professional team to do it for you. And finally, I want to address a couple of questions I get asked. These are our frequently asked questions section here. But go ahead and fill out the form, request a consultation. Let's talk. Consultation is completely free. One of the questions we get most often is simply this: how much does it cost? And I want to address this question, but I have to address it in kind of a roundabout way. See, there isn't one answer for how much it costs. Because we tailor what we do for each business, we have kind of an a la carte program where you can pick and choose some of what you like or what you think you need to focus on. Businesses come in all shapes and sizes. Some businesses want more aggressive marketing. Some businesses want us to do Facebook and Google and LinkedIn and coupons and everything else, pay-per-click, and we do whatever it is they want us to do. We don't have an ultimatum. When you have basically it's an all or nothing sort of a system. You can pick the areas you want to address and we'll work with you. We do have a couple of very comprehensive packages that are available, ranging in price from about $1,500 a month to $10,000 a month or more. It all depends again on how aggressive the business wants to be. I would say as a rule, don't expect to pay less than $1,000 a month. After all, you get what you pay for. But remember the 80-20 rule, okay? Your advertising budget should go where it does the most good. 80% of that budget should go where it does most of the good, to that 20% that does the real work, right? And clearly, I think we can say that now that is social media. Also, I do find the whole idea of having a marketing budget kind of silly, and let me explain why that is. See, marketing is supposed to work like this. You pay X dollars to advertise, and it brings back 5 times X in return, right? If every time you spent $10, you got $100 back, would you stop spending those $10? You say, well, I can only spend $10 this month. I can only spend $100 this month. No, you keep spending to make more money, right? The reason people have advertising budgets, the reason you probably have an advertising budget, is because you've tried advertising in the past and, quite bluntly, it sucked. And now you limit the risk of spending too much and getting nothing in return. But the problem is the mediums that you were choosing to advertise, not that you tried advertising. $1,000 a month is kind of the minimum we suggest to get a good, measurable response, particularly when doing something like pay-per-click advertising. But let us know what your budget is, and we can work with you. Another question we often hear is this: to whom does the content belong? So let's say we build you a Facebook page. You decide to work with us. We build you a Google Plus page. We set up a series of blogs all linking back to you. We have a massive amount of things that we can do. And then eventually you decide to not work anymore with our company. What happens to that stuff? Everything we do is yours. Okay, everything we build for you at some point in the future, if you decide to no longer work with us, whatever we built for you is yours. Okay. Now I've heard of people renting websites or leasing websites. There's a chiropractor who apparently somebody had SEO'd her name, search engine optimized her name, and she thought it was really cool whenever you look for her name that she was the very first thing that came up. But the problem was, of course, people don't search for you if they don't know who you are. They just search for a chiropractor in your area. And when she realized that, she ditched the company. And when she ditched the company, they said, well, we're taking the website with us. So she had to basically start from scratch with a brand new website. But we don't do that. Whatever we build for you is completely yours. Okay. Another question people often ask is, well, do I need all of this? Maybe you're, I don't know, you're a mobile dog groomer, or, you're a midwife, or, something that maybe isn't as intense as other areas. I don't know. Do you need it? Well, absolutely. Everybody needs it. And there's lots of different ways that you can use this sort of marketing. Now, you may need a lot less than some people do. There's lots of ways that you can use these to reach out to potential customers. You just have to be open-minded. We can talk about that. We can sit down and do a full marketing audit of everything you've ever tried, and just kind of point you in the right direction of what you should be doing, whether you work with us or not. Another question people often ask about is contracts. Do we have contracts? Well, we don't have contracts. You can use us for 1 month if you really want and then cancel the service. I don't recommend it, though. We don't have any minimums or maximum durations for our service. However, it's important to know some of the services we provide do take some time to reach the desired level of optimization, particularly if your vertical, the area in which you work, or the actual area, the location in which you work, are highly competitive areas. So here's a couple of examples of the success that we've had, or that our team has had, and this just gives you kind of an idea of the results and the time frame. Okay. So here is an attorney in Los Angeles, criminal defense attorney, and on this page you can kind of see, it's small, I know, but go full screen. I think you'll be able to read it. We worked with them for a year, and here's what happened after a year. Right? Do you see this? So here's the monthly search volume for all of these different terms. Right? That's a lot of terms. And here's where they ranked on these. Now there's 10 results on page 1 of Google. So if they're in a 20s, they're on the second page. If they're in the 40s, they're on the fourth page. And we don't go beyond 20 pages. So if they're on the 200s, they're past the 20th page. Right? In their first month, when we started working with them, we actually bumped them up in almost every single category. One of them went down. I don't know why. But we took care of that by month 3. By month 6, we actually had them on the front page for Los Angeles car accident lawyer, which again gets 590 search volume. That's a lot of people searching every single month to be in front of. If you even get 10% of that, that's 59 people giving them a call. Okay. By month 9, we had them on the front page for 5 different keywords, and by month 12, we had them on the front page for almost all of them. This is a hugely competitive market. Look at the cost per click. Okay, here's the biggest one: Los Angeles car accident lawyer, $126 per click. So if he got 10% of this, that's $59. Let me pull up my calculator here just to do some math for you guys. I want you to see this. Okay, here's my magical calculator. So 10% of that is 59 clicks. 59 times $126 a month and some change. That's $7,000 in value every single month for that one keyword, let alone all these other keywords that are higher performing keywords. Keywords with 1,600 views, 1,900 views every single month. Do you see that? Do you see how powerful it is? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop there. Well, actually, let me show you 2 more here just because it's kind of fun and I have them. Here we had a dentist in Miami. Now you guys know how to read this. So you can see we had some really good reviews. He was actually on the front for a couple of words at the beginning. We had him on the front for all of the words by the end. These are cheaper keywords than before, but still, with this many people searching for that word, you get 10% of that. It adds up very, very quickly, especially 10% of all of these. You're looking at, $20,000 in marketing every single month. And last but not least, I have one more here for you guys. An Austin plastic surgeon. Okay, plastic surgery. These guys make a lot of money whenever they do liposuction or rhinoplasty or breast augmentation, right? And here's a guy, he wasn't even the 20 pages for most of these terms, right? The closest he came was page 2 for plastic surgery, Austin, Texas, and by the end of a year's worth of time, we had him on page 1 for some very high to mid to low, rankings, very pretty pricey keywords as well. So this is what you can expect. So when we talk about contracts, we will tell you that it takes 9 to 12 months to see the results that you're wanting to see. So when you think of search engine optimization, if we decide to do that route with you, you need to look at it as more of an investment in your business. It will take some time, but if you keep at it, if you let us keep at it, we will get you where you want to be, and you will be dominating your market. And we can help you not only get to the front page, but get a glowing 5-star review like our dentist in Groton, who does use reputation marketing. That's a service that he's taken advantage of, and he's dominating. He's crushing his competition. He is the dentist to go to in that area, right? Do you see that? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end this presentation there. I've had your ears long enough, but I thank you guys very much for your time. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and get in touch with us, okay? Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you soon.